Studies show that people that think big are more likely to achieve their goals and have a fulfilling life. But most of us hold ourselves back by thinking small, not realizing that the effort to actually accomplish something big is the same effort used to accomplish something small. Because I used to think small as well until I read this book called The Magic of Thinking Big. It really changed my mindset and made me realize how easy life can be by just thinking big. So that's what I want to do today. I want to be able to change your mindset to instead of having that narrow, small kind of thinking, to start thinking big and see how your life changes. So before I do any of that, I do want to first introduce myself. My name is Jalon Abrams, and this is the Unknown and Talented Podcast. The first thing you want to focus on to start thinking big is to start thinking about your belief. Belief is broken down into two parts: positive beliefs and negative beliefs. Negative beliefs are going to bring about fear, anxiety, stress. When you start having beliefs of negativity or negative things are going to happen, that's what comes along with it. So if you're super stressed out, it's because you're thinking negatively. And that's not really where you want your mind to go. But on the other hand, positive beliefs, that's going to have motivation. It's going to help you push through anything you're going through. So whenever you have a season of uncertainty, when you have a lot of positive beliefs built up in you, you're able to think positively to be able to get through it. When you have a lot of negative thoughts in you, you're going to be being stressful. You're going to have anxiety because that's the only thing you can think about, because that's what you're believing. So you want to making sure that you're believing in positive things. So when anytime something happens, you're able to pull from that positive thoughts that you have. Because our mind is like a bank, right? Think about your mind like a bank. So whatever you're putting in that bank, that's what you're gonna be able to get out. So the regular bank, if you don't got no money, when you go on it and check it out, it's not gonna show you $1 million in there because you don't got that, right? So that's the same thing with your beliefs. Every time you have positive thoughts, you're putting that in your bank. Positive thoughts, you're putting in that in your bank. So now when you're going to withdraw, having that tough time, you're withdrawing positive back. But every day you're waking up being negative, talking negative about yourself or about others, you're putting that negativity in there. So now when life comes and hits you in the face, only thing you got in there is you put your little code in, all you got coming back is negative. So we want to make sure we get in the habit of always speaking positivity. And an easy way to do that for yourself is get a gratitude journal. That's going to really make sure you keep your mind on the positive, thinking about being grateful for things, because it's so easy to be negative. It's so easy. It's so easy to me to say, man, I wish, I don't know. I don't even want to get into that because I want to keep my mind positive, but it's so much negativity that we can find and talk about, but we want to just keep our focus on the positive. And to make it a little more visual for you, just in case that didn't make any sense, think about Inside Out. That movie, Riley had joy, she had sadness, anger, disgust, and then she had anxiety in the newest movie, if y'all saw the new one. But all those things in her mind going, and Joy was trying to get rid of all the bad thoughts, all the negative thoughts. She just wanted Joy there. She just wanted her. So anytime Riley goes anything, she can remember that positivity. So that's the same thing in our mind. We might not have the actual animated characters in our head, but it's our control to be able to know what's going on out there, what's being saved. It's all in our control. So we want to make sure that we're saving up as much positive things as we can think of, because our subconscious doesn't understand what's negative and what's positive. Our subconscious doesn't realize what things it should hold on to or what things it should let go. Whatever you're feeding it, that's what is going to be looking for. So I want you to think about these two statements. I'm good enough. I'm not good enough. Those two statements are both true, right? That sounds crazy, right? But they're both true. If you say I'm good enough, your subconscious is going to think about positive ways for you to be good enough to do something. If you say I'm not good enough, your subconscious is going to find ways to make it not happen, to realize that you're not good enough. So those two statements are true. It just matters which one you pick. You could constantly pick I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. You're not going to accomplish the things you want to accomplish. You keep saying, I'm good enough. Your subconscious is going to find those things to make you accomplish the things you want to accomplish. And that's what we talk about when we talk about thinking big. It's because you're thinking big, you're thinking positive, you're thinking that the stuff that you want, these big goals that you want, especially for the new year, it can actually happen. So the more you say, I'm good enough, your subconscious is going to find patience. It might not happen someday, it might not happen tomorrow, but it's going to build that patience to make you keep doing it. Right now, I'm recording this podcast. I've been doing it for almost 2 years now. It hasn't blown up yet, but it's thinking I'm good enough is giving me the patience to keep enduring, even though it hasn't turned out, the hasn't blew up yet. Is giving me the patience to do it. If I kept feeding into the I am not good enough, I still wouldn't be recording a podcast now, because the doubt that what I've been thinking about is like, man, I'm not good enough. Each time I record, I'm getting upset because it's not working out. I'll put it out, nobody likes it. Your results could be the exact same, but when you're thinking differently, you look at the results differently, right? I can get 100 views on the video. The person that's thinking I'm good enough and saying, man, 100 is more than I got last time, so I'm moving in the right direction. I'm not good enough. I get 100 views on it. It's like, dang, man, knew this wasn't going to get to 1,000 views. I knew, you know what I mean? And that's the same thing in your life. So think about area in your life that you might be struggling with. And instead of just thinking about the negative things, think about, I can do it. I can do it. You might have been going for a job, and every time you go for it, you haven't been getting that job. The job is stressing you out because you can't get that promotion. Think about it differently. Don't worry about the things that didn't go right. Say, every time I didn't get that job, I learned, I improved, and now I know I'm going to be prepared for that next job interview to get that next job. That's how we want to be thinking. Because thinking the negative way, you're not going to be able to accomplish it. So think bigger, think positive, and you're going to accomplish the things that you want. So if all we have to do is think positively and we can actually accomplish these big goals, why don't more people accomplish big goals? It's because of this thing we called excuses. Excuses are the reason why we fail. Excuses is a signal to our subconscious on why we can't do something. And one of the biggest excuses is procrastination. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to start next week. So the beginning of the week, it could be a fresh week and I can start. I'm going to wait until January 1st, new year, new me. I can't do it now. I don't have time. Procrastination is the assassination of motivation. You're never going to get anything done if the only thing you want to do is procrastinate. The best time to do anything is now. And that's going to really make you not accomplish anything, because the more you pushing stuff off, it's not going to happen. Let's just say, I wish there was a way to procrastinate you getting your paycheck, right? Can your boss say, okay, I'll pay you tomorrow. I got you tomorrow. You're going to be on your boss, right? You're going to say, I need my money today. That's the same thing you need to do when you have goals or you have things to accomplish. I need to do it today. The same way you need to get paid on the 1st and the 15th. Or every other week or every Friday, however your schedule is, every time you got to get paid, that's the way you want to be. When a certain time comes and you said, hey, I need to go to the gym, get your tail up and go to the gym. Oh, it's going to be too packed in the gym right now, I'm going to go later. No, procrastination is the reason why you don't accomplish big goals, because you found a way not to do it. Someone that's a big thinker is not thinking of a way not to do it. They're thinking of a way to do it. And we want to be a big thinker, because the bigger we're thinking, the bigger things we can actually accomplish. And the second type of excuse is health-related excuses. People love these. People love these type of excuses because they're like, I just physically can't do it. My knees hurt. I can't run because I got bad knees. My back hurt. I don't feel well. I feel a little sick. You know what I mean? I do it when I start feeling better. All these things are nonsense. To be honest with you, all these things are nonsense. You can do it. It's funny, right? We all make these excuses. We're 100% healthy, but we all make these excuses, and people out there have less than we have and are still able to accomplish things. While everybody was watching the Olympics and being so amazed by Simone Biles, the sprinters that they had, the swimmers that they had. Everybody was so amazed with all these people. They didn't actually pay attention to another Olympic Games they had going on. So this was called the Paralympics Games, the Paralympic Games. So these were when they had people that were disabled in some kind of physical way, but they were actually competing in Olympic sports, just like everybody else, but they were just something what was hindering them to be able to compete in the actual regular Olympics. So people have all their limbs, they're not disabled in any way, but y'all find excuses on why you can't do something. I can't go running because I have bad knees. There were people in the Paralympic Games that had no legs and they were competing. They had people that were swimming and they were missing, limbs. And it's just like any excuse you can find is going to sound like a good excuse, but someone somewhere is doing the same thing you're making an excuse about with less than you have. So none of that stuff matters. So we just have to cut out these excuses. Because if every time someone had some ill pain or something wrong with them, they didn't do it, we wouldn't have the Paralympic Games. Because all of them are actually physically disabled. They can't do certain things, but they found a way to actually be in the Olympics because they didn't make that excuse. So if you're perfectly fine, you got all your arms, all your legs, and all these things, you have to cut out these excuses because the excuses are going to stop you from actually being great. The excuses are going to stop you from actually thinking big and actually accomplish these big things. These excuses are a waste. And then the next excuse I want to talk about you thinking that you're too young or you're thinking that you're too old. You're thinking that your age is out of the box from what you want to accomplish. If you're trying to be an athlete, you might be too old. You might be too old. After you get like 26, 27, you're too old to do any kind of sports because these people is real out here. But other than that, anything you want to do, you can do. The age of being super productive is like from 20 to 70. So if you're anywhere in that range, you can be productive. You're 68 right now. You're like, man, I'm just too old. I can't. You're not too old. You got 2 more good years to do anything you want to do. You think you might be, oh man, I'm too young. I'm 21. I just got out of college. I can't be a supervisor for people that's in their 30s. Most supervisors are younger than the people that they're supervising. I remember one of my coworkers, right? He wanted to be the supervisor, and he was just like, "Man, I don't know if I can do it. I'm younger than all the people that I'm going to be supervising. They might not listen to me. They might not respect me." That's limited beliefs. That's not thinking big. He ended up doing the job. He didn't get the job. You know why he didn't get the job? Because he didn't believe that he can get the job. He made excuses for why he can't get the job. If he had the mindset as like, man, I've been in this job, I've been working, I know everything about this job, I'll be able to lead whoever it is, no matter what the age is. But he didn't have that mindset. He had the limited belief. And that's what y'all can't have. So no matter how old you are, like I said, unless it's sports, if it's sports and you're trying to get back into that, you're too old. McDonald's All-Americans and that were in sports and stuff, after a certain time, they got to get out. So if you want a McDonald's All-American, you wasn't, in sports your whole life, you're too old to do it. I'm sorry. So from 20 to 70, that's 50 years to be able to do the things you want to do. 50 years. So if you're in that 20 to 70, and everybody listens to this podcast, they're in that 20 to 70 range. So you have the opportunity to do anything you want to do. You're not too young and you're not too old. That's just an excuse that you can just knit in the butt. I'm too old. I thought I was too old to be a content creator after a while. Every time I was seeing people, they like in their 20s, they 18. I'm like, dang, these people is young. But now I'm realizing I'm not too young. I'm not too old. I'm right there. I'm good. So the same thing with you. Whatever you want to accomplish, you're not too young, you're not too old, you can do it. And the last excuse that we actually make as people, we make an excuse of thinking that we're not good enough. We need to do more studying to be able to start. We need to do more practice and we need to do more research before we actually get started. Just hop in there and do it. When I first started a podcast, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. My camera, I didn't have the settings that I need to do to make it perfect. My volume was too low. My lights, it was pitch black in here. You couldn't even see me really on video because I didn't know what I was doing, but I just did it. And that's the problem. We love to compare ourselves to other people, thinking that, man, I need to be as good as this person. No, you need to be the best you possible. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. And the person you were yesterday, you were scared to start because you didn't think you was ready, right? So once you start, you're already better than the person you were yesterday. So stop comparing yourself to other people thinking you're not good enough. You are. I didn't realize how good I was at stuff until I bought a course about how to grow my social media. Everything in that book I knew. And I'm just like, bro, I wasted my money. It was like, I think it was like $59.99 or something like that. And I said, I just paid $59.99 for an ebook on everything that I knew already. They were like, oh, this thing means the trending sound. You want to make sure you schedule some posts. You post at these times. You do this, you do that. Make sure you take a picture before you post a reel. And I'm just like, man, this is baloney. Like, I bought this thing thinking that this person knows so much and they don't know nothing. So stop looking at other people and thinking, man, they so smarter than me, they better than me, they know all this. They don't know more than you. You'll be surprised how much people actually don't know that are successful. The difference between them and you is that they didn't wait until they were perfect to start. They just did it. That's the difference. It's not like they're smarter than you. No, they're not. They weren't afraid to start. And that's the next thing that we want to do. We want to be able to build our confidence. Once we have a build confidence, we're able to think bigger because now the opportunities are endless. Because if we don't have any confidence, we're going to be afraid to do things. And once we're afraid to do things, the amount of things we can do is going to be slim. Because we're like, man, we can only do these things. We're not that good. Once you have a big amount of confidence, now you can do so much more. And this helps you think big. This makes life easier. The fear to do something kills your confidence, but action kills your fear. So even though you might be afraid to start, if you just get up and do it, the fear's gone because you did it. You realize it wasn't as scary as it was. Think about back in your high school days and you seen that pretty girl. The minute you went up to her, you realize she's not as scary as before. She's just like everybody else. I remember I was so scared. I saw this girl. I said, I want to talk to her. I went up to her. I feel like I found out she wasn't that cool as I thought. I'm just like, I don't even want to really talk to her like that. I just had this fantasy that she was all this, all that. And the minute I went over there, I'm just like, I was scared of this person the whole time. Really? But it's just like that's what happens is when you're afraid to do something, you make it so big in your head. But when you actually do it, you realize, like, yo, this was nothing. It wasn't a big deal. So take action on those fears. Think of something that you might be afraid of. The fear of public speaking. That's one of the biggest things. It's crazy. There's a stat I saw online that people rather death than public speaking, which is crazy. Like I was like, this got to be fake. I'm gonna have to find the website to put it in here. People rather death than public speaking, which is crazy to me. But once you actually do it, it's not scary anymore. Just get out and do it. If you ever go to any kind of events or anything like that, and they say, anybody got any questions? They're always gonna have it at the end. They're gonna have the Q&A. Get up there and talk. Get up there and ask a question because that's going to build your confidence up so much. You're going to be able to ask a question you always wanted to ask to these people. And then guess what? You're no longer scared of it anymore. And now that builds your confidence up to do something else. So always go after those. The fear of rejection. That's probably one of the biggest things people are afraid of. But did you know that the top salespeople in businesses probably have more no's than yeses? These people that are selling like crazy, everybody they're trying to sell to is not telling them yes, but they're not afraid of the no. It's a numbers game. So let's say it takes 10 no's before you get one yes. But if you're afraid to even get that one no, you're never going to get the yes you want. At one point, I was trying to get people on my podcast. You know how many no's I got? A lot. But then after a while, you get that one yes. You go into all them guys that are trying to clean your shoes. You know how many people are telling them no? But they're still there the next day because they ask enough people to get the amount of yeses. So don't be afraid of that rejection. Don't be afraid of the no. You need the no's. The more you get the no, the more you learn, like, okay, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. Now you learn how to get the yeses. But if you never do it, you're always going to get the no. And the next one is fear of change, which honestly doesn't even make sense to me because unless you are happy where you are now and you're just complacent and you don't want any growth, why are you afraid of change? Change brings growth. You know, the fear of doing something different is what you're going to have to go to get to that next stage. Do you think that caterpillar is not afraid to be hanging up on the side of a tree in the middle of nowhere? Of course, because at any time a random animal can eat it. I don't know what the statistics are, how many times a caterpillar was hanging up in that larva and they got eaten by an animal. I don't know how many times it happened, but I'm pretty sure it happened before. But that's the chance they get because now they get to become a beautiful butterfly. So you're afraid to move out of your hometown because you don't know what's going to happen over there, but you don't have that chance of growing and becoming a whole better you without doing that. I moved out of my hometown and now guess what? I'm married. I got a house. I bought a car in cash because I wasn't afraid to get out of my comfort zone. So don't be afraid of change. If you're afraid of change, you're never going to get the growth that you want. And one thing that's going to help you actually become more confident is when you're out in this world and you're having conversations with people, have good eye contact. When you have good eye contact, that shows confidence. You want to be able to show confidence. And when you show confidence and feel confident, you can be a confident person. When you talk to someone, give them that firm handshake. That's how you know you're confident in who you are. Whenever you go out to an event, make sure you sit in the front seat. Nobody wants to sit in their front row, right? But when you go out to a concert or NBA game, you want to sit in that front row, right? So when you go to different events, like a networking event, sit in the front row as well because it's showing your confidence. You're not scared. You don't want to hide behind nothing. You're confident who you are. You're a big thinker. You want to achieve big things. You want to make sure you front and center. So that's the ways you're going to build your confidence. Don't be afraid of nothing. Fear kills confidence. We want to attack every single fear we have. Have eye contact with someone. Sit in the front row of every event you go to. Don't be afraid to sit in that front row. That's how more people are going to see you. That's how you can be able to build your community. And that's the next thing we want to talk about is building your community is going to help you think bigger. Because if you just have your mindset, you might have a big head. I don't know. I don't have a big head, but you might have a big head. You might be able to think really big because your head is big. Maybe, but everybody's head is not as big as yours. Okay. So, so the way you can actually think bigger is by getting around people that are doing or having the same mindset or a better mindset and more experience than you. Now you're able to think bigger because you're able to bounce ideas off of someone and actually be able to think way different than you are thinking already. Because you alone, you're not going to be able to think big because you're just going to have your experiences from your vantage point and that's it. You want to be able to be fed by other people. Like who is feeding you? That's very important. If you're getting fed and you're around negative people, small-minded people, you can't think big like that because they're small-minded. That's what's everybody around you. You want to be around people that are positive, that are actually taking chances, that are moving confidently because now that's going to start rubbing off. Now the little ideas you have are bigger because this person's like, oh, nah, just do that. Oh, no, just do that. And it's like, yo, I didn't even think about that because you're around these people that actually are thinking differently. They're like, oh, man, I don't have time to work out. Just wake up earlier. That's what I do. You work out in the morning too? Yeah. Now you're working out in the morning. Instead of making an excuse of, I don't have time to work out, you found somebody that can actually do it. But the first thing you have to do before you actually be able to build that is you want to build your confidence. Be able to look at somebody in the eye when you're having a conversation. Speak up. Don't whisper. Walk with your head up. That's a big thing. Never walk with your head down. I never want to see nobody walking with the head down. Because that means you don't have no confidence. And that's actually, you know what? I just thought about this. You know what? I'm gonna give y'all a challenge, right? So this is the challenge for you. This week, let's say I'm dropping this episode Wednesday, right? Whatever. Well, so whenever you're listening to this, you have 1 week to talk to someone randomly in a grocery store, in the gym, coffee shop, wherever you're going, just have a random conversation with a person. You're walking with your head up, you might have eye contact with somebody. Oh, hey, just have a random conversation. I'm not telling you to exchange numbers with them. I'm not telling you to hit on somebody. Just have a conversation with someone. Just practice doing that. So now when you start going to these networking events, you're trying to build your community, or you're in the gym trying to find someone to work out with, trying to build your community, you're used to talking to people now. So find someone. It helps out so much. I read this book called The Fine Art of Small Talk. And this was one of the exercises. It said, practice talking to people, having small conversations. Because the more you practice that, you're more to be able to get over your fears of talking to people. Now, when you actually are in places where you need to talk with people, where you're trying to build that community, you're easily able to do it because you got the practice in. So that's what I want y'all to do this week. Put in the comments if you actually do it too. This week, like I said, whenever you listen to this, you got 1 week. Talk to somebody randomly, have a conversation. Don't exchange numbers. No, we're not doing all that. But if the conversation goes like that, hey, you found somebody. But just talk to some random person, and you're gonna see how your life changes by just being able to talk and being open and having that kind of confidence. And in the meantime, while you're trying to build that community, I want y'all to be listening to podcasts. I know you're listening to this right now. Listen to more. Listen to more podcasts, read more books, because what you're feeding yourself is going to be able to help you think bigger, think positive, think about what's actually feeding yourself. Don't feed yourself that rapidy rap, hip hop, jippity jap, hopping and skipping. And I'm just joking. Listen, I listen to rap and hip hop a lot, but I honestly cut it down a lot because I wanted to make sure that I'm feeding myself positivity, feeding myself motivation, especially being on this platform trying to motivate you. I need to make sure that I'm feeding myself the right things, because you don't want to just feed yourself garbage, right? What I want y'all to do is think about a car, right? Your car most likely takes regular gas. But are you gonna put regular gas in a Lamborghini? No, because it's not gonna run right, right? Okay, think about a spaceship. Are you gonna put regular gas in a spaceship? Absolutely not. I don't know what kind of gas they have, but I know it's not regular gas. And that's the same way you want to treat your mind. You want to be feeding it things that are going to be positive, things that are going to be good, being around people that's going to feed you positive, be around people that's confident, being around people that's going to make you think bigger, push yourself, right? That's what you want to feed yourself. If you're feeding yourself trash, you're not going to be able to be as productive as you can be, because all you have in you is trash. So feed yourself that positive vibes by listening to podcasts like you're doing now, listening to more, and also being surrounded around people that are positive and are pushing you to do better. And then the last thing that's going to help you think big is to write things down. So I actually have a Bible verse for you. And if I say it wrong, I'm sorry. Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision and make it plain upon tablets, that he may run that readeth. So thinking big is going to require you to write things down. Life is moving fast. We have a lot of things going on. You want to make sure any ideas you have, you want to write down, because thinking big doesn't matter if we forget all of the big ideas we get. We want to write things down. So usually what I do in my notes app, I go crazy in the notes app. I'm writing down any little thing I could think of. If I have a podcast idea, I'm writing it down. If I have a date night idea with my wife, I'm writing it down. If I have a gift that I want to give my wife, I'm writing it down. Any little thing, I'm writing it down so I don't forget it. Because you're thinking big, you're around all these people, and now the idea you have is gone because you didn't write it down. So you want to make sure you write it down. So get in the notes app, go walk around with a notebook. I also put voice notes. If I'm driving and I think of an idea, have a voice notes, because you want to make sure you're safe on the road. But write things down and actually take action on it. So going back to that verse, the verse, it said, write the vision and make it plain upon tablets. Okay, so that's just writing it down. And then it said, that he may run that readeth, right? So the minute you write it down, you're making it plain, and now you're running. You're actually taking action once you write it down. So don't just write stuff down. You're thinking big. This is that's it. It's not as the thing about this about thinking big is actually taking action and doing things. If you're just thinking big and not actually accomplish anything, it's a waste of time. So write it down. Take action on these things that you write down, and quick too. Run, right? What did it say? That he may run that readeth. So you want to do it pretty fast. So we're not procrastinating on anything we write down. We want to take action. But I also want y'all to make sure y'all have game plans on how you want to do it as well. So actually, break down how you want to accomplish this big goal. So we're going to take action, but you want to give yourself specific times to do it. And then lastly, what you need to do is now just think big. Now just think big. So no matter what circumstance or environment you're in, you're thinking about the big picture. So right now I'm in this house. We actually got this house built. So when we actually saw the dirt, we saw the mud, we didn't look at it as dirt and mud. We looked at it as the full house. We said the kitchen's gonna go here, the living room's gonna go there, that's where the steps gonna go, the garage is gonna go there. So those are all the things you think about when you actually are in your certain environment. So think about your environment now and thinking about how much you can do with what you have. We were in dirt and we didn't look at it as, man, this is dirt. We looked at it as, man, this is gonna be a beautiful house. So think about your life. Think about the stuff that you have in your life right now. What can you use right now to be able to get to the next stage in life? Don't just look at your circumstances now as you open up your bank account, you see $10 or you might see overdraft. Don't look, what can you do with what you have right now to make tomorrow better? And that's what thinking big is. It's using what you have right now in this circumstances and making for a better tomorrow. It's by starting being positive. It's by not making excuses. It's about moving with confidence. It's about finding people in your community to be able to boost you up. And it's about writing it down. Writing anything you think about down. All the positive. You're feeding yourself positive. That's how you're going to be able to think big, and it's going to change your life. Your life's going to be so much smoother when you actually are thinking big, thinking positive. And that's what I got for y'all today. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. I love the book, The Magic of Thinking Big. I'm going to drop the link for that in the show notes as well. But make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment. If this helped you out at all, leave a comment. Tell me how I did. Tell me how this is going to help you think differently and think big. All right. So yeah, so my name is Jawan Abrams. This is Unknown and Talented, and I'll see you next week.